why you as a sales rep should learn cold outreach. Let's not waste time. Let's jump right into it. First point I have on this is that it makes you a rare asset to any business. Let's be honest. Most people's outlook on cold outreach is that it sucks. Most people don't want to do it. Most people, if they are doing it, will procrastinate the heck out of it because it's uncomfortable, because they just believe it sucks. And for a lot of cases, it does suck. But what that means is if you learn it and you get good at it, you are rare and you are highly, highly, highly valuable to almost any business, because you can go out there without marketing spend, without huge audience, without lead magnets, without so much resources. You can go into the market and generate cash. You can create revenue. You can sell. And any and all businesses would love to have a bunch of people like that. Not that they would need it. Great companies that obviously have the marketing budget, that have all these things in place, the reps don't have to do it because they have these things. But in the case where budgets fluctuate, ad spend goes up, all of these things, it's nice to know that you have a team that can and is willing to go out and create cash. So you learning this skill set, especially if you're someone that doesn't have a huge track record of being on other offers, this is going to make you very, very, very hireable. And it's going to help you negotiate and get a lot of leverage. So like if you're someone who, I know a lot of reps are looking to acquire a base pay on top of some commissions. Being a person that knows how to do cold outreach and knows they can go out and either set appointments or set and close appointments, or either of the two, straight cold, that gives you a ton of leverage to negotiate a pretty hefty base pay. And this is where most account executive, SDR, like software sales comes from when it comes to why they pay 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100K a year salaries, is because a lot of what those reps are doing is cold outreach. And if you can generate cash from nothing, it's worth paying that person a base pay, because it kind of just swaps out with your marketing budget, right? So instead of me saying, hey, commission only, we pay this much for leads and ads and all this stuff. If you just convert a certain amount, cool, you get your commission, versus, hey, we don't have to pay for any of that stuff. So instead, we're just going to give you a base that we would otherwise maybe spend on marketing and let you kind of go out and do your thing. And then the business can kind of see which one's more profitable and go from there. So that's the first point. It makes you rare. It makes you an asset, and it allows you to negotiate and command, good commission structures. So instead of like typical 10%, you can get 15, 20, 30, 40, 50%, depending on the business. Allows you to negotiate, gives you that leg up. Second thing I'll say is you'll pretty much never go broke again, right? Because if you know that you could just go out and again, just generate revenue from the market, there's no business that's going to turn you away. And you'll always be able to get paid. You'll always be able to make money because you're not relying on anything or really anyone to generate revenue, especially if we're saying that you're mastering cold outreach from a standpoint of being a business owner. If you're a sales rep, maybe you rely on the delivery of the business and the business actually existing, sure, but there's always going to be businesses that exist. So if you have that skill, you can take that pretty much anywhere and therefore always get paid, right? So you're never really going to worry about money. There's been time, like so many times where I needed a quick cash injection and I did cold outreach for a few days, closed the deal for a few $1,000 and covered some bills, right? So it's a huge help if you're someone who wants a little bit more income control. Again, this is not about having to always do cold outreach. This isn't about needing to do cold outreach. This is about having the skills for longevity in this industry and for leverage in this industry. And cold outreach is a big player when it comes to that. Because it just unlocks options, right? And I kind of already said it, but the last thing I'll say is, if you ever want to start your own business and you have years of cold outreach or cold sales behind you, even months of it, and where you've actually generated revenue from it and you have a consistent strategy for it, opening up your own offer, going into your own business becomes easy because you have the sales stuff down, right? When I first started my own business, cold outreach for the first like 3 years in business, it was just cold outreach. Cold outreach, cold outreach, cold outreach. And we generated multi 6 figures the whole way through, right? I think I hit my first 10K month on like month 3 or 4 because I was coming from a sales background of like door to door and cold calling. And then when I started my own business, I'm like, well, I know how to generate revenue. I'm not the best marketer. I suck at that. I suck at running ads. I suck at all these things, but there's one thing I can do is I can go into the market and find people, use my sweat equity and find people that would want to buy what I got. So I went and did that. And I think it was like when I started my marketing agency a long time ago, it was like month 1, we did 4K, month 2, we did 7K, and we took it from there, right? So cold outreach, there's a lot of benefits to it. Again, this is not about having to do it for the rest of your life. You don't have to always do the cold outreach, but man, does it give you options. So if you're shying away and you're like, oh, I'm only an inbound sales rep, I'm only a sales rep that deals with warm leads, you're missing out. You're stifling your career, and you're not like, this could be the extra thing that you bring in that makes it super easy for you to land either your first role, your next role, a great role, and takes you to the next level. Especially for those of you that want to transition into like a more corporate sales, software sales, tech sales kind of thing. This stuff is huge in there, huge in there. Again, it just opens up so much options. Hopefully I've convinced you to give cold outreach a look, learn it, try it, test it out. You won't regret it. Well, maybe you'll regret it when someone yells at you because you called them for dinner, but in the long run, you might not regret it. I'll leave it there. Have a good one.